ได้ค่ะสวัสดีทุกท่านเลยนะคะวันนี้นะคะ
So
ก
a
ลุ่ม
very good afternoon. So we are from Innovation College from Thammasat University. So we are going to present the food culture of Nang Loeng community. So Nang Loeng market is actually the first dry market of Thailand, initiated in the reign of King Rama V, and started with the name of Sanam Kwai Ileung, then Nang Loeng. The area is actually an area or the market that sells food and also desserts. Also, there is a Sala Chalam Thani theatre, which is also a part of the community. In this particular community consists of the Thai ethnic group, Chinese, Mon, and Yuan, who has migrated and settled in Thailand. So there you can see the blend between cultures, and they actually, in the end, they call themselves Thai. So most of the occupation of the people in the community, they are merchants or civil servants, and mostly people in the community, they are Thai Chinese. So the food of Nang Loeng community, I'm going to present you some of them. First is the Khanom Tien from Anan Bundet. So Kun Nok Iang has told us that she has learned how to cook this dessert or this particular dish from his mother. And for over 65 years, she has learned how to cook this particular dish. So there are actually distinct ingredients, which makes it very munchy. And this actually has health benefits as well. And this particular dish is inherently linked with the Chinese New Year celebration or the Spirit Festival celebration. So right now, this particular dish is maybe passed on to the 4 children of Kun Anand. Next is the Kun Wishian Mi Suk, who actually owns the noodles bami Hokkien Rung Ryang there. So the recipe has been passed on from the father, and this is has distinct soup, which is brewed for a very long time. The next food is the Nanta Khanom Thai or Thai dessert by Kun Nanta. And the recipe has been long, 50 years, and has been passed on from generations. So right now, Kun Nanta has actually passed the recipe on to the 3 children, but actually 3 of them have their own jobs. So as you can see, these are the list of the restaurants or stalls that sells food and marks the gastronomy of the Nang Loeng market. So current the environment of Nang Loeng community, there might be threats because the trend in food consumption has changed, and also the proliferation of fast food culture, and also the proliferation of food delivery. And the cooking methods has been changed, the food has been applied, and there's a lot of fusion food made. There's tangible cultural heritage that we have identified, which is the food itself and the ingredients. So within that food, there are stories that exist, considering the procedures and the selections of ingredients, which is considered as the intangible cultural heritage. So as we have studied the Nang Loeng community, we have came up with the idea called Nang Loeng Chareun Ahan, which is a website that actually consolidates all the information about food and culture. And there are 3 main objectives. First is actually to serve as a platform in order to promote the food culture. Secondly, in order to promote sales for the people in the market. And the third objective is actually to manage all the food cultural information systematically. So let's have a look at the short video clip.
เจริญอาหารเนืองเรืองเว็บไซต์นางเรืองเจริญอาหาร
So this is the website of Nang Loeng Chareun Ahan, which consists of the food information or food culture in Nang Loeng. On the first of the website, you are going to find a space where you can actually search for food. If you look at the top panel, you will see that there is a categories of what's consisting of this website. there is actually 5 pages. First is the first interface where you can easily search for the food that you want. Second is the types of foods that are available in the community, which is savory food, dessert, and snacks. And there are also subcategories of each category as well. So when you put it, you go inside, we will provide the information on that particular food. The third part of the website will provide the map of the community. If you search, there will be names of the restaurants or stores, and also would provide a map and directions to that particular food. Then the fourth part is actually a game where people can go play and collect stamps. And the last is the contact information. So in order to contact the website manager. Moreover, you can actually access our website by clicking the person icon, and you can log in in 3 ways. First is to log in with our own account. Secondly, you can also log in by external account, by Google account and Facebook account. Those people who are involved in promoting the food culture of Nang Loeng will consist of the following. The community will be able to provide information and contents for the website, and also providing content for us to disseminate information. Secondly, we want to involve the government agency who can take part in promoting our activities, and also financial support. Moreover, we want to involve cultural heritage experts who can actually give us advice and recommendations. Fourthly, we have to also involve the IT company. So the activities that we are planning for, we are going to involve the government agency who will actually support the tourists in the local areas. Also, the media will also take part in promoting our website. Then the consumers and the tourists will actually partake in actually learning and accessing our website. So our project is we are planning to execute this for about 3 to 5 years. So once if we have actually established the website, what we're going to gain is actually the information on the food culture in the communities, and that can be accessed by the people in the community, the public, and also tourists. And actually, we'll archive all this particular information, which is consistent with the SDG goals, which is no poverty, the zero hunger, and the affordable and clean energy. And the 8th goal is the decent work and economic growth. This will actually affect the good human settlement and sustainability of the community. So after we have asked the information from the community, most of them think that the systematic management of the information will be useful, and it's actually new because no one has consolidated information like this before. So lastly, I'd like to thank UNESCO for this great opportunity for us to showcase our ideas. Thank you. First, coordinator from Youth Collab from UNDP, please, Kun Kaylin.
Hello. Great. Thank you so much for having me, and I really enjoy the presentations. I've also mentioned yesterday, I've actually lived in Nang Loeng Community for almost 4 years. Actually, I'm super interested to learn about a dish that you mentioned that has Hokkien influence, because I'm from Hokkien, and I'm super curious to learn more about the dish, like how it gets the essence or influence from the Hokkien culture. And as far as I know, that there's so many Hokkien people still in Thailand even with COVID, and I feel like there will be a lot of potential interested people to get to know more about the Hokkien culture influence of the dish. And I guarantee you that's going to be something that the current Hokkien people here would be very, very interested. And sometimes when I pass by Nang Loeng Market, I also notice that they still have this cultural performance from Teochew. I think every Sunday evening when I go to the community, the market, they will put away the food and then people will gather on the in front of the stage and there's this opera performance. So I feel like there's still very strong sense of community from Nang Loeng Market. And I also appreciate how you go to different vendors and try to capture their information. One thing I would say that I'm not sure if it's already in a feature right now, would be very, very interested is that I noticed some of the vendors, they show up in different locations. So they don't have their own specific shop, they have their own cart. So that gives them flexibility to go to different corners within the Nang Loeng market. For example, I really love this grandfather or uncle age vendor who always sell the soy milk and with very specific very good taste, but I can never find where he is. I always have to go there by luck because he always show up in different parts of the community. So for me, it will be very interested and very, very useful to know that, if he has a cart, where can I find him in a specific date or time? So I'm not sure if it's just part of things that you want to include it. If not, maybe try to interact with your potential users, potential customers will also help you have a better idea of what kind of features people are looking for when they go to your website, right? Thank you.
คุณภูริตารากรณยุทธยา from Bangkok Airways. He's the Senior Marketing and Communication Manager, please. So first, really, I compliment you on behalf of Bangkok Airways. So I think everyone has a thorough understanding and has done a thorough research about the community and the food culture, considering people right now, or the youth groups, or people who are 20 above. The Nang Loeng market is not often talked about. So I am confident that the people in the early 20s or late teens, I have not heard anyone mentioned Nang Loeng market before. So I think it's a great sign. And I think this enables us to find out the famous dishes, and it has been long passed on from generation to generation. And it's long years, 50, 80 years. So one of the famous dish or food like khanom tien, actually khanom tien is actually one of the food or one of the dessert menu that we actually serve in Bangkok Airways lounge. So it's actually popular and actually very popular, like our khao tom mat and khanom tien as well, and one of the popular menus that we serve, and it's a famous dessert. And I think it's a great idea for me as well, that maybe in the future, whether it's the onboard food or food at the lounge, I think it's a great idea for me is actually for us to seek new food, new dishes, and maybe you want to try to take the locals and maybe have some sort of business with Bangkok Airways. So I think I can see the opportunity for this to grow, and I think you've done really well, and I compliment you for that. Thank you. So can I jump in a little bit? And I think the narratives or the storytelling is something that I want to add. And people they want to see, the evidence-based information, and this is actually you're trying to elaborate the identity through food, right? So there's a problem actually from passing on this recipe or knowledge. So for when it's passed on from man to man, it actually becomes sustainable. But when it's passed on to the women, sometimes it dies out because they marry out, of the family. So I think it's one of the points that you may have noticed already, that people are able to sustain the family business, particularly the food business, maybe not so much a high income generation. These the children who are men or male would be able to sustain the business more. So I think the storytelling is something that you can develop, and the sustainability of the website or maintaining the website, maybe you want to try to also focus on the ownership and trying to give the community to manage this themselves. Like I go to Nang Loeng market like once every week, and they have adjusted their landscape and everything inside, and all the utilities and design is, it's well managed, and that it's impossible that for the landscape to develop, and everything evolves, and the Nang Loeng market will continue to change and trying to be more inclusive, and everyone to actually preserve this food culture. So I I want to also propose YouTube podcast, and also going through the channels of influencers to promote, Thai tourists, to Thai people to visit. I think 2 years ago, there's an ambassador of UNDP who is actually the star of Game of Thrones. And that really got the attention of the media. So, maybe think about the visibility through like a famous person. So it's actually very powerful. So this is what I want to add. Thank you.